The small explorer ship moved through the black space between the stars. It was not a big ship. It was not made for war. It was made to learn about new worlds and new people. Commander Day One sat in the captain's chair and looked at all the lights and buttons on the walls. Everything was working fine. Everything was normal. He was a human from Earth, sent to work with the Valorians, an alien race that lived among the stars. The Valorians were strong and smart. They had built great cities on many planets. They had traveled to places humans could only dream about. But today, something was going to change everything. Day One was not the captain of this ship. He was here to talk to the Valorians and learn their ways. He was here to make peace between humans and aliens. It was a big job, but Day One was good at his work. He knew many languages. He was kind to people, even when they were different from him. On this day, 4 young Valorians were on the ship with him. They were not grown. They were cubs, like human children. Their names were Hail, Minsu, Ji-woo, and Unha. They had soft blue skin that changed colors when they felt things. When they were happy, their skin turned gold. When they were sad, their skin became purple. Right now, their skin was light and pale, which meant they were calm and peaceful. Hail was the smallest one. He had big eyes and small hands. He was curious about everything. He wanted to touch all the buttons and understand how the ship worked. Minsu was bigger and stronger. He liked to protect his friends. He stood close to Hail all the time. Ji-woo was the smartest one. She asked many questions and wanted to know why things worked the way they did. Unha was the quiet one. She did not talk much, but she watched everything and noticed small things that others missed. The captain of the ship, a tall Valorian named Kale, stood on the bridge and looked at the space ahead. Day One joined him. They were traveling to Kepler 442b, a planet far away from Earth. The journey had taken 3 months. In 3 more days, they would arrive at the planet. They would land on the surface. They would study the life that lived there. The cubs are excited, Kale said to Day One. His voice was deep and strong. They have never left their home world before. This is their first big journey. Day One smiled. They are good cubs. I like teaching them about humans. They ask very good questions. Kale turned to Day One. You are different from other humans. You do not fear us. Most humans fear the Valorians. They think we are monsters. They think we want to hurt them. I do not think that, Day One said. I think we can be friends. I think we can learn from each other. Kale said nothing, but he put his hand on Day One's shoulder. It was a Valorian way of saying thank you. Then the alarm began to sound. The sound was loud and wrong. All the lights on the ship turned red. Day One and Kyle looked at each other. Something was very bad. Kyle ran to the controls. He looked at the computer screens. His blue skin turned dark and angry. Asteroid field, he shouted. The ship's instruments did not see it. It is coming at us too fast. Arkit, the ship started to shake. Things fell from the walls. The floor moved under their feet. Day One grabbed a chair to stay on his feet. The Valorian captain was strong and stayed standing. He moved his hands very fast on the controls. He was trying to move the ship away from the asteroids, but it was too late. A huge rock, big as a mountain, hit the front of the ship. The crash was so strong that it threw Day One onto the floor. The lights went black for a moment, then they came back, but they were all red now. Fire began to come from the walls. The air started to feel hot. Day One could hear people screaming. He could hear metal tearing. I have to help the cubs, he shouted. He ran from the bridge. The hallways were full of smoke. His eyes hurt. He could not see where he was going. But he knew the way to the observation deck, where the 4 cubs were sitting. They always sat there in the morning. They liked to look out at the stars while the ship moved through space. Day One ran as fast as he could. His legs hurt. His chest felt tight. but he kept running. Finally, he reached the observation deck. The door was stuck. He pushed and pushed. At last, it opened. Inside, he found the 4 cubs. They were standing in the corner of the room. Their skin was very dark, almost black. They were shaking very much. They were scared. When they saw Day One, they ran to him. Hail grabbed his leg. Minsu put his arms around him. Ji-woo and Eun-ha held his hands. "Are we going to die?" Hail asked. His voice was small and sad. "No," Day One said. But he did not know if that was true. The ship shook again. Day One held the cubs close. He felt their fear. He felt their small bodies shake against him. These were just babies. They had never known danger. They had grown up in safety, on peaceful worlds, in peaceful homes. Now everything was breaking apart. "Listen to me," Day One said. He tried to make his voice calm and strong. "The ship is broken. We might crash. We might have to leave the ship. But I am here with you. I will help you. I will not let you go." The cubs did not answer. They just held him tighter. The ship was falling now. Day One could feel it. It was falling toward the planet below. The air was getting hotter. The walls were glowing red. The sound was getting louder. Day One did not let go of the cubs. He held them close. He thought about his family far away on Earth. He wondered if he would ever see them again. He wondered if these 4 babies would live to see tomorrow. The ship fell faster and faster. The whole world seemed to be falling. Then, with a sound like thunder that shook the sky itself, the ship hit the ground. Everything went black and silent. For a long moment, nothing moved. Nothing made any sound. Then, Day One opened his eyes. He was still holding the cubs. He was alive. They were alive. Above them, through the viewport, they could see green sky and tall trees. They were on the planet now. They had crashed, but they had not broken into pieces. The ship was damaged, but it was still here. It was still whole enough to keep them safe. But now they were trapped on an unknown world with broken machines and no way to call for help. The ship was quiet now. After the crash, there had been so much noise and movement. Now there was only silence. The silence was almost worse than the noise. It was a silence that meant something very wrong had happened. Day One checked each cub carefully. Minsu had a small cut on his arm. Eun-ha had hurt her leg when the floor moved. Hail and Ji-woo were not hurt, but they were still very scared. Their skin was a dark blue, almost black. They would not let go of Day One's hands. "Stay here," Day One told them. "I need to check the ship. I need to find the other people. I will come back soon. Don't leave us," Hail said. The little cub's voice was very quiet. "I will come back," Day One promised. "I promise you. I will come back." Day One moved through the dark hallways. The emergency lights gave off a small red glow. The ship was damaged everywhere. Walls were broken. Things were on fire in some places. The air was hot and hard to breathe. He found the captain's bridge. Captain Kale was there, but he was not moving. He was not awake. A big piece of metal had hit him. Day One checked to see if he was alive. Yes, he was breathing, but he would not wake up. Day One moved him to a safe place and covered him with something soft. He found 2 other Valorians in the medical room. They were both hurt very bad. Day One used the medical machines to help them sleep. Sleep would help them heal. He did not know if they would wake up again, but sleep was better than pain. When Day One went back to the observation deck, the 4 cubs were waiting. They had not moved. They were sitting together in a small group. They looked so small and scared. Day One sat down with them. He put the cubs around him, in a circle. "The captain is sleeping," Day One said. "The other grown Valorians are sleeping too. Right now, I am the only one who can help, and I need you to help me." We are scared, Jiwoo said. She was trying to be brave, but her voice shook. I know you are scared, Daewon said. And that is okay. Do you know something? I am scared too. All four cubs looked up at him. They did not understand. Humans got scared? That did not make sense. The Valorian people were raised to be strong and brave. Fear was something weak. Fear was something wrong. On Earth, Daewon said. Where I come from, we have a different way of thinking about fear. Fear is not bad. Fear is your body telling you something is dangerous. Fear is your body saying, be careful. Pay attention. You need to think about this. Minsu's skin turned a lighter color. But we have been taught that fear is weak. Fear is for the young and the small. That is wrong, Daewon said. The strongest creatures feel fear. Fear is not the same as being weak. Fear is the same as being smart. If you feel fear, you are paying attention. If you feel fear, you are thinking about danger. That makes you strong, not weak. Hale said, but if we are scared, how do we do things? How do we be brave? Daewon smiled. He liked this question. You feel the fear. You notice the fear. But then you do the thing anyway. That is what being brave means. Being brave does not mean you are not scared. Being brave means you are scared, but you do it anyway. The four cubs said nothing. They were thinking about these words. They had never heard anyone say these things before. Daewon took a small computer from the wall. It still worked. He showed the cubs a map of the ship. He showed them where the food was. He showed them where the water was. He showed them where the tools and equipment were kept. We need these things to stay alive, Daewon said. But they are in the lower parts of the ship. The lower parts are dark. The lower parts have been broken by the crash. We have to go down there. That sounds scary, Yunha said quietly. It is scary, Daewon said. I will be scared when we go down there. But we have to go anyway, because we need food and water. And if we go together, we can help each other. We can be scared together. Jiwoo was looking at the computer. She was thinking about what Daewon had said. If we break the fear into small pieces, we might be able to do it. We might be able to go from place to place, a little at a time. We do not have to do everything at once. That is very smart, Daewon said. Yes, that is exactly right. Over the next hours, Daewon taught the cubs about fear. He told them stories about Earth. He told them about times when he had been very scared. He told them about his first day away from his family. He told them about his first time in space. He told them about his first time meeting a Valorian. In every story, he had been scared. But in every story, he had done the thing anyway. I was so scared the first time I met a Valorian, Daewon said. I thought maybe the Valorians would think I was stupid. I thought maybe they would not like me. But I went anyway. And Captain Kale became my friend. The fear was not gone, but I did the thing anyway. Minsu asked, what happens after you do the scary thing? You find out that you can do it, Daewon said. You find out that you are stronger than you thought. You find out that the fear was just in your mind. And the next time something scary happens, you remember that you did it before. As the red light of the emergency system glowed around them, the four cubs began to understand something new. They began to understand that courage was not the same as not being scared. They began to understand that courage was a choice you make even when you are scared. Daewon held them close. Their skin was still a dark blue, still showing fear. But something else was there too. Something new. Something like hope. Tomorrow, Daewon said, we go to get the food and water. We will all be scared. But we will do it together. And we will be brave. The cubs were quiet. But they nodded. They understood. They were learning something that their whole world had never taught them. They were learning that fear could make you strong, not weak. They were learning that fear could teach you things. And in that dark ship on an unknown world, 4 young aliens and 1 human began to learn what it really meant to be brave. The morning came, though it was hard to tell when morning came because the windows were dirty with ash and dust. But Daewon's watch said it was morning. He gathered the 4 cubs in the common room, which was the biggest safe space in the ship. "Today we go to get food and water," Daewon said. "Today we do the thing that makes us scared." The cubs stood together. Their skin showed blue and purple colors. Fear. But something else too. Something like courage. Something like hope. "Who wants to go first?" Daewon asked. Min-soo stepped forward. He was the biggest and the strongest. But that did not mean he was not scared. Daewon could see the fear in his colors. "Still," Min-soo said, "I will go first. I will show you that it is okay." "Good," Daewon said. "But remember, you can be scared and still be brave. You can be scared and still do it." Daewon and Min-soo worked together to make a rope from emergency cables. They tied it to a strong pipe. The rope would help them move through the dark hallways without getting lost. They would tie it to other things as they went. If anything bad happened, the rope would help them find their way back home. "The rope is like a promise," Daewon told Min-soo. "The rope says, 'I will not let you get lost. I will not let you disappear. I will bring you back.'" Min-soo held the rope in his hands. His skin was still showing fear, but he was ready. They moved into the dark hallways together. The emergency lights were very dim. The air was hot. They could hear sounds in the walls. Sounds of the ship settling and breaking a little more. The sounds were scary, but Daewon and Min-soo talked as they walked. They talked about Earth. They talked about the stars. They talked about food they liked to eat. By talking, they made the fear smaller. By having something to think about, they did not think so much about the scary things. "How much longer?" Min-soo asked. "Not much," Daewon said. Then they heard water. A lot of water. When they came around a corner, they saw water coming down from a broken pipe in the ceiling. Water was falling like rain in the hallway. The water was going into a big hole in the floor where the metal was torn open. "We have a problem," Min-soo said, but Daewon smiled. "This is not a problem. This is a test. The fear comes now. This is when we are brave." They moved through the water. It was cold. It was hard to see where they were going, but they moved one step at a time, one careful step, then another. The rope was in their hands. The rope was their promise. They reached the cargo room. It was full of boxes and bags. Food, water, tools, everything they needed. Min-soo picked up a big box of food. He was happy. "We did it," he said. "We did it," Daewon said. "You were scared, but you did it anyway. That makes you brave." They walked back through the water, back through the dark, back through the scary things. When they reached the other cubs, Min-soo put down the food, and his skin turned a bright golden yellow. "It was scary," Min-soo told the others, "but we did it, and now we have food." Ji-woo was ready to go next. She wanted to bring more food and find the water containers. This time, Daewon sent Min-soo with her, because now Min-soo knew the way. Min-soo was not scared anymore. He had done the scary thing once. While Ji-woo and Min-soo were gone, Eun-ha sat very quiet. She was the one who was most scared. She did not like to talk about her feelings. She did not like to be the center of attention. "You do not have to go if you do not want to," Hail said to her. "I do want to go," Eun-ha said. "I want to be brave too, but I do not know how." Daewon sat next to Eun-ha. "You already know how," he said. "You already learned. You know that fear is just your body talking to you. You know that you can do things even when you are scared." "But I am scared the most," Eun-ha said. "I am scared more than the others." "That is okay," Daewon said. "Different people are scared of different things. You are not wrong for being scared. You are brave for feeling scared and still trying. When Jiwoo and Minsu came back, they brought water containers. They brought more food. They brought tools. Jiwoo's skin was bright and happy. She had not been as scared the second time, because now she had done it once. Then it was time for Eunha to go. Daewon went with her. They moved slowly. Very slowly. Eunha's hands were shaking. Her skin was very dark. But she kept moving forward. When the water came down from the ceiling, Eunha stopped. She could not move. The fear was too big. Daewon did not push her. He did not tell her to be brave. He just stood with her. I cannot do this, Eunha said. You can, Daewon said. But maybe we do it different. Maybe we do not walk straight through. Maybe we go around another way. They found another path through the hallways. It was longer, but there was no water. It took more time, but Eunha was not so scared. Step by step, they moved forward. Step by step, they got closer to the cargo room. When they got there, Eunha could not believe it. She had done it. She had been scared, but she had done it anyway. I did it, Eunha said. Her skin turned orange with happiness. You did it, Daewon said. You were scared the most, but you did it anyway. That makes you the bravest. Finally, Haeil went with Daewon. The smallest cub was still very scared, but he wanted to try. He was brave, even though he was small, even though he was young, even though he was scared. When all 4 cubs had gone to the cargo room, when all 4 had seen that they could do the scary thing, when all 4 had found food and water, something changed in them. They sat together in the common room. They ate food. They drank water. They looked at each other. We did something hard today, Jiwoo said. We were scared, Minsu said. But we did it anyway. We learned what it means to be brave, Eunha said quietly. Haeil looked at Daewon. Thank you for showing us. Thank you for being scared with us. Daewon held all 4 cubs. In their own world, they had been told that fear was weak. In their own world, they had been told to be strong and cold and not to feel. But here, on this broken ship on an unknown world, they had learned something different. They had learned that fear was not the enemy. Fear was just information. Fear was just your body and your mind saying, be careful, be smart, be ready. And they had learned that being brave did not mean you were not scared. Being brave meant you were scared. And you did the thing anyway. The cub's skin glowed with a new color now, a color that mixed gold and blue. 3 days had passed since the crash. The 4 cubs had become stronger every day. They had brought food and water from the cargo room. They had fixed some of the broken lights. They had even made the medical room work a little better, so they could check on Captain Kale and the other Valorians who were still sleeping. But on the 3rd night, something new happened. Something worse. Daewon was looking at the ship's computer when he heard a sound. It was a deep, loud sound. It came from outside the ship. It came from the world below. He went to the window. In the green jungle, he could see movement. Big shadows were moving between the trees. Big shadows that walked on 4 legs. Predators. This world had animals that hunted other animals. This world had danger that was not broken machines or scared feelings. This world had teeth and claws. Daewon watched the animals walk around the ship. They were curious about the metal thing that had fallen from the sky. They smelled it. They touched it with their long noses. There were 5 of them. They were very big and very strong. One of the animals hit the side of the ship with its head. The metal made a loud sound. The animal hit again. And again. Daewon called the cubs. They came running. What is that sound? Haeil asked. Predators, Daewon said. Animals that hunt. They are trying to understand what the ship is. Right now, they are just curious. But if they keep hitting, they might break the ship. They might get inside. What do we do? Minsu asked. Daewon looked at the cubs. He knew the answer. But he did not want to tell them. He did not want to make them scared again. But he had to tell them the truth. "We need to send a signal," Day One said. "We need to tell the people on other ships that we are here. We need to tell them to come help us. The communication system is broken, but the antenna is on the outside of the ship. If we can fix the antenna, we can send a signal. Someone will hear it. Someone will come." "The antenna is outside?" Jiwoo asked. "Outside with those animals?" Yes," Day One said. The 4 cubs were quiet. They understood what Day One was saying. They understood that this was going to be the most scary thing yet. They understood that being scared was not a reason to not do it. But this was different from before. Before, the danger was broken machines and dark hallways. Now, the danger was real animals with teeth and claws. The danger could hurt them. The danger could kill them. "We need to fix the antenna," Yunha said quietly, "or the predators will break the ship, or we will be stuck here forever." "Yes," Day One said. "But we are scared," Hale said. "Yes," Day One said. "We are scared, and that is okay. We have learned that fear is not bad. Fear is just information. Fear tells us to be careful and smart." Day One worked all night. He showed the cubs the plans for the antenna. He showed them how to take it apart. He showed them how to fix the broken wires. He showed them how to put it back together. "We will go outside at sunrise," Day One said. "The predators sleep during the day. They will not see us. We will have a few hours to work. We have to fix the antenna and send the signal before they wake up." When the sun came up, Day One and the 4 cubs went to the airlock. The airlock was the door that let them go outside the ship. It had not been used since the crash. "We will go out together," Day One said. "I will hold the antenna parts. Minsu and Jiwoo will help me put it together. Unha will watch for danger. Hail will be ready to help if I need him." "And what about you?" Hail asked. "I will be scared too," Day One said. "But I will do the job anyway. That is what we do now. We do things even when we are scared." The airlock opened. The hot air of the alien world came inside. The smell of green plants and wet earth filled their noses. They had never been outside before. They had only seen this world through windows. Now they walked into it. The ground was soft under their feet. Plants touched their legs. Above them, the sky was green, not blue. Everything was strange and different and scary. "Do not look around," Day One said. "Look at the antenna. Look at the job. Do not think about the danger. Just think about the work." They worked fast. Day One showed Min Su where to put the wires. Jiwoo used the tools to connect everything. Unha kept her eyes on the jungle. She watched for movement. She watched for the predators to wake up. Hail stood very close to Day One. The little cub was the most scared, but he wanted to help. He handed tools to Day One. He held things steady. He did his job. After 2 hours, the antenna was ready. Day One connected it to the computer he had brought. He typed in a message. The message was simple. "Ship crashed on Kepler 442b. Need help. Send rescue." He pressed the button to send it. The antenna began to move. It pointed up at the sky. It sent the message out into the stars. "It is done," Day One said. "We did it." But then they heard a sound. It was a roar, a very loud roar. It came from the jungle. One of the predators was awake. It had heard something. It was coming toward them. "Run," Day One shouted. The cubs and Day One ran toward the ship. They ran as fast as they could. Behind them, the predator was moving through the trees. It was running toward them. The airlock was getting closer. 50 meters, 40 meters, 30 meters. The predator was very fast. But the cubs were fast too. They had learned to be brave. They had learned that fear could make them move. 20 meters. 10 meters. They reached the airlock. Day 1 pushed the button. The door began to close. The predator was very close now. Day 1 could see its teeth. He could see its claws. But the door was faster. It closed. It locked. The predator hit the door with a loud boom. But the door was strong. The door was metal. The predator could not get through. Inside, the cubs and Day 1 fell to the floor. They were breathing very fast. Their hearts were beating very fast. But they were alive. "We did it," Jiwoo said. She was laughing and crying at the same time. "We sent the signal," Minsu said. "Someone is going to hear it. Someone is going to come help us." Yunha held Day 1's hand. "We were scared," she said. "But we did it. Anyway." Hale was jumping up and down. His skin was gold and bright. "We were brave! We were brave!" Outside, the predators went back to sleep. They hit the ship a few more times. But it did not matter. The signal had been sent. Help was coming. Soon, rescuers would arrive. But more important than that, the 4 cubs had learned the biggest lesson of all. They had learned that courage was not the absence of fear. Courage was the choice to do the important thing even when you were scared. Courage was facing danger because something mattered. Courage was standing together and moving forward even when your legs were shaking and your heart was afraid. They sat together in the quiet ship. They waited for help. They knew it would come. They knew they would be okay. And they knew that they would never be the same again. The wait was long. For 5 days, Day 1 and the 4 cubs waited inside the broken ship. They ate food. They drank water. They fixed more things. They talked about Earth and Valorian homes. They talked about their families and their dreams. They talked about what they had learned. On the 5th day, they saw something in the sky. A big ship. A Valorian ship. A rescue ship. The cubs ran to the window. Their skin turned gold with happiness. "They came!" Hale shouted. "They heard our signal. They came to help." The rescue ship moved slowly. It came down through the green sky. It moved through the clouds. It landed near the broken ship with a soft sound. Then people came out. Valorian soldiers. They were big and strong and wore uniforms. They looked at the broken ship. They looked at the green jungle. They did not look happy. A tall Valorian came inside. His name was KL, but not the Captain KL. This was another KL. One from the military. He was the commander of the rescue ship. When he saw Day 1 and the 4 cubs, he stopped. He did not understand. He thought they would all be hurt, or scared, or dead. But instead, he saw them sitting together. He saw their skin glowing with soft colors. He saw them looking calm and ready. "Are you all okay?" Commander Kale asked. "We are okay," Day 1 said. "We have food and water. We have made repairs. We are all alive. How did you survive?" Commander Kale asked. "This was a terrible crash. The Valorian cubs are young. How did they survive?" "They learned something," Day 1 said. "They learned about fear." Commander Kale did not understand. Valorians did not talk about fear. Valorians were taught not to feel fear. Fear was not part of the Valorian way. "Come," Day 1 said. "Let me show you." He took the commander to where the cubs were sitting. They stood up straight. They did not look scared anymore. But they did not look like they were hiding their feelings either. They looked strong and calm. "These cubs were very scared after the crash," Day 1 said. "But they learned that fear is not bad. They learned that fear is information. Fear tells you to pay attention. Fear tells you to be smart." Minsu stepped forward. He spoke to the commander. "I was scared when we had to go into the dark," Minsu said. "But the human showed me that being scared does not mean you cannot do the job. Being scared just means you have to be careful and smart." Jiwoo said, I learned that when you are scared with other people, the fear becomes smaller. When you work together, you can do things that seem impossible, Yunha said quietly. I learned that fear is not weakness. Fear is my body taking care of me. Fear is my mind paying attention to danger. Hale looked up at the tall commander. We were scared a lot, the small cub said. But we did scary things anyway. That made us brave. That made us strong. Commander Kale looked at the 4 cubs. He looked at Day 1. He was quiet for a long time. This is not Valorian teaching, the commander said. Finally. No, Day 1 said. This is human teaching. This is something my people learned a long time ago. We learned that the strongest warriors are not the ones who feel no fear. The strongest warriors are the ones who feel fear and do the job anyway. The commander walked around the 4 cubs. He looked at them carefully. He saw that their skin was steady. He saw that their eyes were calm. He saw that they stood straight and strong. They look different, the commander said. They are different, Day 1 said. They have learned something new. They have learned that they are stronger than they thought. They have learned that fear can help them, not hurt them. The rescue team brought Captain Kale and the other Valorians onto the rescue ship. They brought Day 1 and the 4 cubs onto the rescue ship. As the rescue ship moved up towards space, the cubs looked out the window at the green planet below. They looked at the jungle and the mountains and the world they had crashed on. Will we ever come back? Hale asked. I do not know, Day 1 said. But you will remember this place forever. You will remember what you learned here. The rescue ship moved higher and higher. The planet got smaller and smaller. Soon it was just a small green dot in the black space. Then, it was gone. Day 1 sat with the cubs in the common room of the rescue ship. Around them, the stars moved slowly. They were going home. They were going back to safety. But everything was different now. What will we do? Minsu asked. When we get home, what will we do with what we learned? We will teach others, Jiwoo said. She was already thinking like a teacher. We will tell them what we learned about fear. We will tell them what the human taught us. The grown Valorians will not like it, Yunha said. They think fear is wrong. They think we should be strong and cold and not feel anything. Then we will show them, Hale said. He was the smallest, but he had become very brave. We will show them that we are stronger, because of what we learned. We will show them that we did things we thought were impossible. Daewon held all 4 cubs close. He knew that what they had learned would change them forever. He knew that when they went back to their world, they would be different from other Valorian cubs. They would understand fear in a new way. They would understand courage in a new way. Maybe they would teach their friends. Maybe their friends would teach other people. Maybe one day, the whole Valorian world would understand that fear was not the enemy. Maybe one day, they would understand that the strongest being is not the one who feels no fear. The strongest being is the one who feels fear and chooses to do the right thing anyway. Thank you, Jiwoo said to Daewon. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for learning, Daewon said. You taught me something too. You taught me that courage looks different to different people. You taught me that young people can teach old people. You taught me that the universe is full of surprises. When the rescue ship reached the Valorian homeworld, many people came to see them. Family members came. Military leaders came. Teachers came. They all wanted to know what had happened on the broken ship on Kepler 442b. The 4 cubs stood together. They looked calm and strong. When people asked them what happened, they did not tell stories about how tough they were. They did not tell stories about how they did not feel scared. They told the truth. They told people how scared they had been. They told people how Day 1 had taught them that fear was okay. They told people how they had been scared and done important things anyway. Some of the older Valorians did not understand, but some did. Some of the younger Valorians understood right away. Some of them had never liked the old teaching that said they must hide their feelings and pretend to be something they were not. Day one went back to Earth. But before he left, each of the 4 cubs gave him something. They each gave him a small stone from Kepler 442b, the planet where they had learned to be brave. He-Eel's stone was smooth and warm. Min Su's stone was hard and strong. Ji-Woo's stone was colored and beautiful. Eunha's stone was quiet and perfect. Keep these, He-Eel said. Remember us. Remember that you taught us that fear is okay. Remember that you made us brave. Remember that you made us brave. Day one held the 4 stones in his hands. He felt the weight of them. He remembered the ship. He remembered the jungle. He remembered the darkness, and the water, and the predators. He remembered the scared cubs who had learned to be brave. I will remember, Day one said. And as the human left the Valorian world, he knew that something had changed in the universe. 4 young aliens had learned that the greatest strength was not invulnerability. The greatest strength was the choice to be brave, even when you were scared, even when you were just a cub, even when you were far from home, on a broken ship on an unknown world. Fear had not defeated them. Fear had made them strong. And that was the most human thing of all.